The following is a Podcast One Minnesota production.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
If it's made in Minnesota, who's making it and how?
Yeah, you got that right.
It's the Makers of Minnesota, focusing on the products and services uniquely made in Minnesota, and conversations with the makers, entrepreneurs, and innovators in Minnesota about how they conceived of their products and how they brought them to market. With Stephanie Hansen, it's the Makers of Minnesota.
Good morning, everybody. This is Stephanie Hansen, and you are listening to the Makers of Minnesota. I am here with Wendy Winkler from Fast Mary's. Fast Mary's sounds like it could be something really like super mysterious or weird or skateboard company, but it's a Bloody Mary enhancer. Welcome to the Makers of Minnesota.
Thank you.
I first ran across you, well, gosh, I think maybe at Certix, actually. And I was like, what is this very cool packaging, very cool product? Explain what a Bloody Mary enhancer is.
So Fast Mary's Bloody Mary enhancer is a seasoning blend of Bloody Mary seasonings. So it's just a seasoning mix that you can add to a tomato base to make a Bloody Mary. So you could add it to tomato juice, V8, Clamato. I can get about 8 to 10 Bloody Marys per bottle. A lot of people cook with it, marinade meats in it, and vegetables and stuff. So there's a lot of uses.
Yeah, and it's kind of I don't want to say a weird product, but that it's not that you opted to go the route of not putting the juice into the enhancer is pretty neat. Why was that part of your equation?
I think it's because people that shop for Bloody Marys, it's not just for the flavor. It's for consistency. A lot of people have consistency issues. When you're buying a premix, you're going to have to doctor it up anyways. A lot of people do that.
Right.
I've done that in the past. So this gives the consumer the freedom to add more, add less flavor, heat, anything you want. So it's really a consumer-based product where they get to kind of make their own Bloody Mary.
Were you a big Bloody Mary drinker, or how did this come to be?
I
Tell
was
me
a
about,
Bloody
like,
Mary
the first
drinker.
ideas.
Yeah, so I was a bartender when I was in college, and then people would come in for a Bloody Mary, and that would be the next 20 minutes of my life, making this Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
So
Because you would put in, like, what would you normally put in
all
your
the
bar
spices,
Bloody Mary?
You know, it'd be seasoning salt and lemon juice, sometimes a little orange juice, lemon pepper, Worcestershire. So all these things just to shake in all these drinks. So I came up with this concoction then, and I could simply add it to tomato juice and be done making that many Bloody Marys in, 2 minutes.
Yeah,
This is 10 to 15 minutes. That's kind of where the name came from, a Fast Bloody Mary. So
Yep.
we just shortened it to Fast Marys.
When you put together your spice concoctions, did you know, like, right away what you wanted to have in it? Was there a lot of tinkering, or did you just have this formulation in your mind?
It kind of transformed over the years. I tweaked it as I, got out of college, worked corporate, that kind of thing. So it took me a few years to get it to exactly where I wanted it to be. And by that point, I was kind of bootlegging it to bars and golf courses and things like that.
Did you just go and, like, knock on the door and say, hey, do you want to buy this?
A lot of the people that wanted it in their bars were, like, friends of mine from high school who now own bars.
Uh-huh.
And they're like,
where'd you grow up?
Ellsworth, Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Home of the
cheese curds. That's
yes.
right. So that was kind of how I, bootlegged it around.
Yeah.
And then it kind of got a little following. Worked at 3M for 11 years, worked at Excel for 7 years, and then I saved up enough money and said, let's try it.
So you actually, like, saved up money to quit your job to go into this full time.
Correct.
When you have you mentioned that you're a chemist, and I know you can call yourself the urban chemist.
Yep.
When you did that had to be really scary. Like,
it was coming from a corporate background in a 9 to 5 or an 8 to 4 or whatever, and then just having the freedom of, when does my day start? Or how do I structure it? And then making all this product and not really being a salesperson, like, how do I get it into place?
Yeah.
How do I
so tell
do
me
all
about that. Did you, you'd gone
it was,
bar to bar.
Yeah, it was mainly with the liquor stores is where we started. And it was cold calls. I got this new product. I'm local. Here it is. Can I come in? We'll do a sampling. And that was how I started getting into liquor stores.
Were you surprised that people allowed you to come in and do that, or was
I
it
was.
harder than you thought?
I didn't think it was going to be that easy, but a lot of places were. I mean, they love local stuff. They wanted to give it a shot, and as it was selling, then it was reorders and things like that. So,
And you have the unique advantage of that it's not alcoholic. You can
Correct.
use it for non-alcoholic
So
too.
I do
so
have
you can do grocery
yeah,
and
I do have retail stores. General Store of Minnetonka's one, big one over Christmas, and we're onboarding now with Super Value and Cub Foods locally.
Did you have a distributor, or did you cold call and make those connections as well?
Well, that's, with the liquor stores, it goes both ways. So they call me because people have asked for it, or I've called them, depending on, I need stores in this location. So I'll either reach out or vice versa. Now, for like the grocery chains, Super Value called me because one of their leadership had tried it and loved it and said, bring it in. So that was the easiest sale
You're
of my
so
life.
lucky.
It was like a 15-minute meeting, and they're like, we'll take it. You'll have 80 stores. I mean, it was just incredible. But
And-
that's the way I'd like it to be. That's why I mean, everyone would, right?
Yeah.
But like doing all these local events, it's that one person that tries it that can really change.
So do you look at the local events and like I know doing the Stone Arch Festival coming up, and you've done some pop-up markets. You did the Bloody Mary Festival that I just judged recently. Do you view those as sales opportunities or marketing opportunities?
Both. I did Girl Fest last weekend, 2 weeks ago. Either way, that was more of a brand awareness one. I knew that going into it. Now, the sales ones are really the holiday ones or the farmers market, 'cause people are going there to buy things.
Yep.
But same with the Bloody Mary Festival. I wasn't expecting to sell a lot. I actually did okay, though, because people, if they lived in Egan, I don't have a store in Egan, so they would buy it there. But yeah, it's both. I do both.
Did you design your packaging? Because it's kind of fast and sexy and street a little bit.
Yeah, I got really lucky. A friend of mine's friend is a designer, and she did a mood board. I guess this is how they
on
do
Pinterest.
things. Yeah. So they're like, here's what I'm come up with, and I'm like, oh, I love all this, and then started getting these iterations, and I was like, my God, this is perfect.
This is exactly.
Got the sword skewer and the cool fast Marys in it, and the little flame that has the mild or the hot, and it was just gorgeous.
It's really beautifully designed.
And the idea kind of behind it was how people shop for wine. Like a lot of people buy wine by the pretty bottle.
Yes, they do.
So I wanted it to be pretty. I wanted it to be in it'll cost more for the glass and the pretty print on it. And I wanted that. I want that to be attractive for someone to look at. And
your product is, so how much is you sell it in the one, it's in a glass jar.
Yep.
Or bottle, I guess, not a jar. How much is it?
That's a 16-ounce amber bottle, and depends on the liquor store how they want to charge for it. Usually retails between $8.99, $10.99, just depending on where you are in the locality.
And you get about 8 servings. So I would say it's kind of a premium product too, because it's neither food nor fully stands alone.
Yeah.
But that's why I think the packaging works so well, because the person that's going to buy it is kind of looking for an altered experience of something that's a little more elevated than the traditional Bloody Mary.
Correct. Yeah, that's how we designed it to be. It is, an upper scale product. But I really wanted that consumer experience to be, if you're having people over for a football game, make 10 Bloody Marys for your friends. They're all going to taste the same, all this stuff, and you don't need to have all these extra spices and things.
Do you produce it yourself, or do you use a co-packer?
Yeah, I use a co-packer. He's at River Falls, Wisconsin.
And was that a decision that you made early on, or tell me about that?
Yeah, it was. He was the only co-packer I found where you didn't have to order 10,000 gallons at once.
Wow, yeah.
You could make 30 gallons to see if your concept worked or was marketable. They've been great. They're two ex-chefs out of that started this co-packing company. They each have their own product lines that they make of their own, but the co-packing is just extra revenue for them. So they're wonderful to work with. They know a lot about food, FDA, all the things that I didn't really know about. They took care of that for me.
Yep.
Which was like, I just stumbled on them. It was luck.
So just like this, I'm going to start asking you the weird questions, okay?
Yep.
So your day to day, like you've quit your job, stressful, okay, you've got your savings, and in the beginning, you stumble along this co-packer who helps you with some of the FDA pieces and the permitting and the licensing. But like, if you were to tell me about your day, what do you spend your day doing? Like, how much time do you spend on sales? How much time do you spend on marketing? And we haven't even gotten to social media yet. Do you do that yourself?
Yeah, I do all of it myself right now. So it's a combination of a lot of things, and the weeks differ. So like this week I have 2 shows this weekend. I'm doing a charity event on Saturday, and then I have an event at Hagen and Oates.
You do a lot of shows, right?
Yeah. So there's a lot of prep for that. So just figuring out what I need for each of those. Do I have tomato juice? Do I have all the things that I'll need for sampling and things like that? So a lot of prep. But now, like last week was a lot of deliveries, and they were all in Wisconsin deliveries. So that takes up a majority of the day. Just
so
going
you're
out and
actually making those deliveries yourself, okay?
Other days, if it's raining out, I'll do my accounting books, which I'll always put off to the last minute.
Yep. Do you use QuickBooks?
I actually use Excel right now. I can right now. I just don't want that extra expense. But yeah, I always put it off because it's. I try to do every month at least to keep up monthly, but it's usually the last thing I want to do.
Yeah.
And then the sales calls. So those are ones where someone will come to a show and they live in Burnsville and there's no stores down there. Then I'll look at what liquor stores are in their area and then start calling and emailing them and see if I can set up a meeting. So it is a lot of different things on every different day.
I love the way that you talk about sales and that you are literally calling and selling people your product. So do you like set aside, like nobody likes cold calling. So are you like,
it's the worst. I'll have stuff on my calendar. I have a whiteboard up that has, here are the things I want to do this week. And the last ones that I'm always erasing are the ones where I'm cold calling.
Yeah.
Because no one likes that. No one likes to get them. No one likes to do them. So that is the part. And I'm not a good salesperson. I don't think I am. It's easier for me to have them try it and be wowed by it.
Yes.
And then that sale is done. But to get them to that point, that's the cold call, right? So that is the.
So if it's on your calendar for that week, do you make sure you do it, or do you drag it into the next week?
Yeah, sometimes I have 2 from last week I did not do, so I did drag it into this week. But I try to get everything off the week.
A lot of product makers and creative types, which I would say entrepreneurs, they don't like the sales part, and that's why I'm pressing on that, because I think you might be a better salesperson than you think. You know what the idea is to get it into the hands of the store, that you have to get them to try it.
Yeah.
To get them to try it, you have to create that relationship.
Yeah. And the story's good. Like that's, the story of how I came up with it. Like that's what I'm starting to get used to. And that's really the big part of the sale is how I came up with it. So I have to keep reminding myself, like people like to hear that story when you're pitching.
It's all about the story.
Yep.
And don't you think, too, like there's been a lot of research that millennials in general, like so that's people in their 20s, that they really love the story of makers and they will spend more for that story.
Yeah. I agree. I hear that a lot at events. Everyone wants to hear how I came up with it and all that thing. So, and just the local. People are buying more local now. So I've been lucky that I got in, I think, when I have, because it's kind of a movement now that's starting. It's vegan, it's gluten-free, it's all these things that people really like.
And a lot of the Bloody Mary mixers and stuff, aren't they full of like MSG and?
Some of them are. There's MSG, there's a lot of preservatives in them because you got that tomato juice in there, and there is a shelf life on that. Some use clam juice, but people have, seafood allergies and things like that. So I try to keep it as clean as possible. We're doing one more iteration where I'm going to remove a preservative from a Worcestershire I'm using. And then it'll be pretty clean of all the preservatives I can. I have a really low pH. This is a little sciencey, but low pH, so it's very shelf stable, 3-year shelf life on it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so there's a lot of chemistry that we actually built into it, so we don't need to have all those preservatives and things like that.
I noticed, too, you do a little bit of merchandising. I mean, the story's kind of sexy. The T-shirts can be cute.
Yeah.
Do you think about what could be next products for you, or is I think a lot of entrepreneurs, like, it's always about the next thing and the new thing, or will you just stay in this lane?
For now, we're kind of staying right where we're at. I have a couple new flavors of Fast Marys I'm working on, but there's certainly room to. I mean, I just made this killer cocktail sauce for my shrimp the other night, just with tomato paste and Fast Marys.
Yeah.
Now is that a product line? Maybe. So right now, that's kind of the focus. I haven't really looked at going outside of that yet, besides just iterations using Fast Marys.
Yep. Are you a Bloody Mary connoisseur yourself?
I do like Bloody Marys, yeah.
Are there places in town here that you think, wow, they really knock it out of the park, and if I could make something, I'd want it to taste like that?
Yeah. Bright Lake Bowl is probably my favorite Bloody Mary.
What do you like about it?
It just has the taste that I'm looking for. I need the saltiness. You can taste the seasonings in it. It's not too heavy. It's not too thin. It's the
right
just perfect for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any others?
That's the one that really sticks out. More than not, I've had bad ones,
And
especially at brunches and things like that.
Do you take a snit with your Bloody Mary, or?
I do.
And do you know where the history of the snit came from, or what that is? It's such a Wisconsin thing.
It is. There was just an article in the city pages that kind of went back in history to explain it, but I think it went something like during Prohibition they didn't have the vodka, so they made Bloody Marys with beer.
Okay.
And then when that was lifted, then they just kind of had the beer back with it.
Sure.
But that's only a Midwestern thing. Like if you went out to California, they have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
And when you ask for a snit or a back, they're just looking at you like you're crazy pants.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite like vodka, or do you ever make Bloody Marys with gin?
I haven't. I know people that do use gin and tequila for their Bloody Marys.
Yep.
I like vodka. I'm a Kettle One drinker, but also Her Spirit. I do like their vodka.
Yeah, and that's a local vodka. Yeah. That would be nice. Talk about social media, because your product seems like it would lend itself to that.
Yes. So social media is it feels like a whole nother job.
It really does, doesn't it?
Because you kind of have to plan out your week. And then there's the social media holidays and regular holidays and things that you want to, kind of jump on the coattails of to have a sale on your online sales.
Yeah, and be in the moment. That. Do you do Pinterest too?
I don't do Pinterest. I don't know much about that. I try to stick with Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook are really the avenues I use.
What do you think
right
is
now.
The best medium for you?
Instagram, I think, is probably the best.
And, I don't know. I haven't looked at your feed, but I'm imagining you can't post a Bloody Mary every day. So what kind of lifestyle elements are you trying to bring into that Instagram feed?
A lot of it is, we did just do a photo shoot. So I do have a lot of product photo pictures. And so I'll use those to tell people we're having a tasting at South Glendale Liquor on Friday night or something like that. We do a lot of the...
Do you think people come because of an Instagram post?
Hard to say. I know the liquor stores like it because you're kind of promoting people coming in. But no one's really come up to me and said, "Oh, I saw this on Instagram. That's why I'm here."
That's, I guess, why I'm asking.
Yeah.
It seems like Twitter is pretty in the moment for tastings. Yeah. People do it for Facebook too. Instagram, I think people kind of stick more to the imaging and imagery, not so much like we're here right now. But I think it's interesting that you use it for that.
Yeah, the product shots that we've done, I've done 2 photo shoots for Fast Marys, and those, always get good responses when I'm posting them. They're just beautiful pictures. So it's definitely worth putting some money into doing things like that, especially, I have a little pretty bottle and all the things you can do around that.
Yeah. Do you ever do videos?
We just started we did a few, I'm not going to be good at naming what these are. They're just kind of little short videos of, we did some for some holiday things that'll be coming up where it's just short videos like pouring a beer in a glass and things like that.
Yep.
So we'll see how those play out. It's fun. I'm glad people know how to do that. I'm not too good at that yet.
Yeah, I'm not really either.
Yeah.
So
And there's the boomerang and all that stuff. I'm still learning.
Figured out the boomerang.
It's a separate app.
Bad.
I didn't know that.
And they do have it in Instagram, but you use it like in your story. So they don't have it where you can just put it with a post.
Yeah.
Static post, I guess, because they're not videos, duh. But anyway.
Yeah, there's so many moving parts and
Yeah.
apps and things that I'm still trying to wrap my head around. So
Yeah.
at
it's
some
a
point,
lot.
it would be nice just to have someone that does that part for me. 'Cause
Yep.
it's you really got to think about what you're going to put out there and what you actually want to get out of that.
You know what else is weird? And I've never really articulated this before, but it's every day. It's all day. So, like, as an entrepreneur, small business person, it's not like you can take the day off of Facebook or Instagram
No.
because you have to be responsive. So
Yep.
it can feel kind of oppressive sometimes too.
Definitely, because now there's that rating system on like your
How
Facebook
fast you
response
respond,
and
yeah.
things like that. So yeah, I'm constantly looking at my feed and making sure that if there was a message that I responded to it
Yep.
and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely a 24/7 kind of thing you got to monitor, and especially if people have questions about your product or want to know. Oh, I have a liquor store. You should talk to,
Yep.
ask for so and so. I mean,
I
those
think
are the ones.
you're the first person that's actually said out loud. People will ask their liquor store to carry this or ask their grocer. And what I want the listeners to know is that really does make a difference for people.
Absolutely.
Their customer feedback really can get a product in a store if it's something you're
Yep.
crazy about.
And that's when the liquor stores call me, that's what they say. People have asked for this. Let's try it. Come in, give us 2 cases, 1 hot, 1 mild, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So it does make a difference.
All right. I love that. Are there other products locally that you're crazy about, or you just think like, wow, that person is really a great maker and people should know more about them?
There's so many. That's probably the biggest thing I have learned since I've been full-time doing this is just how many tremendous makers there are. Like, I'm part of Midwest Pantry, so I know
Yeah.
all the food. I mean, it's just incredible how many.
Yeah, and I think Midwest Pantry has done a really good job of cultivating a group of vendors. And
Agreed.
would you, when you started down this road, like right when you quit your job, did you join Midwest Pantry or did you join later?
I joined them, I think, right when I left. And just to have a community of people that
Yeah.
were equally as scared to put everything on the line for something you weren't sure what the future looked like. It's nice to have that kind of those people around
Yeah,
you because
absolutely.
it's terrifying and there's not one person that would tell you it's not. It's scary. Some days are better than others, and I mean that's just the road of owning your own business. I
Are you
think
glad you did it?
100%.
Really?
Yeah, I really
like, not
wish
even
I
a
would have.
hesitation.
No. I wish I would have done it earlier in my life, but at the same time, I don't know that I was confident enough in it to do it.
Yeah.
So I think the stars lined up when it was supposed to happen.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Thank
It's a
you.
great product. I look forward to hearing more about you. It's Fast Mary's, and you can find it at fastmarys.com. And also, you are at a ton of markets, so I'm sure. Do you put events on your website too?
I do. All of our events are listed in the events tab of fastmarys.com.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.